Okay, so a few thoughts on the Akeida. There's a lot on the Akeida. Why it happened, what was his purpose, why doesn't Avram argue with God, even though he argues to save Sodom?
Save what? Not Sodom. Oh wait, does he try to save Sodom?
He tries to save Sodom. He tries to save the whole city of Sodom.
Why trying to save the whole city?
That's because that's the whole point of the beginning of the parsha, where he tries to save Sodom. Why don't we see him arguing with God over the Akeida? How the Mefarshim try to figure out, what was God changing his mind? Was he not changing his mind? Why did he imply that he wanted human sacrifice? Did he really want human sacrifice? How does this relate to human morality? How does it relate to theology? How do those two relate? Right? Everything you could ask about in the parsha. So let's just, we're not going to get through everything, but let's do a little bit here, okay? To set the background for the Akeida, and we may not get past this pasuk. The first pasuk in the Akeida is Vaychi acharad dvarim ha'eleh v'elohim nisad Avraham v'yomer elav Avraham v'yomer hineni. So it was after these things, and God tested Avram, and He said to him, and He said Avram, and He said hineni. Okay. Now there's a lot in that pasuk. The first big problem on this pasuk is the first 4 words. Vayhi acharad dvarim ha'eleh. Why is that a problem? Right? What does Vayhi acharad dvarim ha'eleh imply?
It's right after.
So it's not just that it's right after. What does it usually imply? It's more than it was after. What does it imply?
It's connected.
Yeah, causation. Right? Causation. Right? It's not just that it happens afterwards. Right? That there's a connection. So what does Rashi say? Rashi tries to pick up this problem.
What happened right before?
So what happened right before? So there are 3 stories that happen right before, right? If you just look before this, so you have the previous stories. The immediate previous story is the alliance with Avimelech. Before that is Hagar being kicked out, and Yishmael being saved after Hagar is kicked out of the house. Yes, Avram kicks out his wife, his wife and son.
I was only confused with the Hagar thing because after Sarah dies, he remarries Hagar. Isn't that right?
Midrash says that his third wife, Keturah, is really his second wife, Hagar.
Right.
But in Pshat, no. In Pshat, he doesn't marry Hagar again. He marries Keturah, a third woman.
Yeah.
The pasuk says he marries Keturah, but either way, she's kicked out. And before that, you have the birth of Yitzchak. Those are the previous 3 stories that you have. So yes.
Didn't Yitzchak and Yishmael bury Avram together?
Yes.
So Yishmael came back?
Yes. To bury Avram.
Well, he's still part of it.
No, I'm like, how do they know? That's like back when you threw rocks around my door or something.
What do you mean?
Because he was doing something wrong.
Oh, for sure.
He was mitzachek. That's what we know, right? That's what we know. The pasuk says he's mitzachek. He's mocking, right? And that's what Mefarshim struggle with what is mitzachek? What's implying? It's clearly something wrong, right? But it's not totally clear what that is.
Idolatry?
Yeah, it could be it's idolatry. It could be it's murder, right? It could be what Yishmael is doing wrong, why he's kicked out, right? All the pasuk says mitzachek. But in the Akeida, so what's happening? So Rashi says, Yesh Meremetenu Omre Achar Dvar Shel Satan Shemekatrek V'Omer Mikol Suda Shas Avram Lo Hikra V'Necha Par Echad O Ayal Echad Omer Lo Klum Asel B'Shvil Beno Elu Ili Ayiti Omer Lo Zevach Zavech Oto Lefanai Lo Yam Akev. So one position in Chazal, according to Rashi, is that it's not because of the 3 stories before. It's just that when Yitzchak was born, Hashem made a party. Avram made a party for Yitzchak, and the Satan said to Hashem, look, he makes a party, but he doesn't bring all these korbanot to you. He's not such a good Oved Hashem. And so Hashem says, not true. If I asked him for his own son, he would give it to him. Right? Now, where do Chazal get the notion that the Achar Hadvir Ma'ila has nothing to do with the actual previous stories? Where do they get this notion that the Satan came and started arguing with Hashem and saying Avram isn't worthy?
Because it doesn't have any connection to the other story.
So that might be part of it, but there's a better reason. Right? There's a better reason, which is that Chazal are picking up on a parallel between Avram and you're free to look over my shoulder.
No.
What's the parallel? What was the backstory before you said it was making a parallel?
Oh, Eov.
Yes, Eov.
Yeah.
Right, Eov. Right, Eov. Because in Eov is described in similar ways as Avram in terms of his righteousness. And he also has, right, what's the theme of Eov?
Who's Eov?
Job.
What?
Job.
Eov?
God's most.
He basically he had a terrible life.
Yes, Eov is a righteous tzaddik, and in the book of Eov, the Satan comes to Hashem and says, "Big deal, he's a tzaddik. Of course he's a tzaddik. He's rich. He has a lot of kids. You gave him everything. Test him and see if he'll still believe in you."
Later in the.
Correct. Much later.
There's they say it's it happened around the same time.
Right, so the Midrash, the Gemara says that some people say it happened in the time of Avram, some say it happened in the time of Moshe, some people say it never happened, it was a mashal, right? But whatever happens, the Satan says to Hashem, big deal. If bad things happen to him, would he still be with you? And Hashem says, yes, test him. So first he kills all his kids, takes all his wealth, then he makes him sick, he just doesn't kill him, and eventually Eov just goes crazy and can't handle it, and starts arguing.
When do we read Eov?
What?
When do we read Eov?
Never.
Really?
Never.
Oh.
You should learn it.
I've learned it.
Yeah. It's a nice long book.
Against God?
Yes, right, against how unfair this is, and then there's a dialogue back and forth between him and his friends. So the Midrash here is clearly reading this in light of Eov and saying, look, here's a case of a totally unexplainable test. Why would God do this to Avram? And they say, hey, we got another book with a super righteous person who is beloved by God, who goes through a test that nobody understands, and the backstory to that is the Satan setting the stage. It must be that it's the same thing. Then Rashi gives a second answer, and Rashi says some people say it was Yishmael, that Yishmael had been kicked out, and now they say, well, part of why he was kicked out was that Yishmael had mocked Yitzchak and said, I'm greater than you. Why? Because I had my bris at 13. You had it 8 days. Big deal. You didn't know what was happening to you. You didn't have a choice. I'm greater than you. And so what does he say to him? So what does he say? Yitzchak say back, please, if God asked me for my life, I'd give him my life. Right? So they connect it to which story? Yishmael, which is right, one of the few stories immediately prior. The simple pshat, however, or the simplest answer, is that in order to understand why the Akeida happens now, you need to understand the next pasuk, which is the second pasuk of the Akeida is Vayomer kachna et pincha yechidecha asher ahavta et Yitzchak. Take your son, your only son, your beloved son, Yitzchak, v'lech lech al eretz haMoriah. Those key words, lech lecha. Right, go to Har Moriah. V'aleim sham leolah alachad harim asher amar elecha. Yes, lech lecha. Correct. Of course. Correct. It's right. This is the intensification of the first lech lecha. Now, how is this connected? So let's be very careful here. Why does Hashem describe Yitzchak as Pincha Yechidcha Asher Ahavta et Yitzchak?
Just like he describes the land, like go from your father's land to your land.
Good, right? Same thing, right? But the biggest problem here is the word. Which word? Which here is the biggest problem here? Yechidcha, your only one, right? Because is he his only son? No, he's not his only son.
It's something that matters.
So what does Rashi say? Rashi says Hashem was trying to get him used to it. So what was he saying? What's that? Let me finish the thought. So what did he say? He said, take your son. And he said, I have two sons. So he said, your only son. And Avram says, both of them are the only child of their mothers. The one you love. I love both of them. Yitzchak. Right? He wanted to ease him in.
Goddamn.
What were you going to say, Max?
I was going to say that it makes...
So wait, is that where the Quran switches it up?
Right, so that's what Rashi says. But there's an even better pshat. Maybe that's why he said all four. But why is he Yechidcha?
Together?
Why is he his only son?
Why is Yitzchak his only son?
Come on. Zev, why is he his only son?
He's the one who gave up his life for him.
Why?
Because what was the previous story? He kicked out Yishmael. He's the only one left. Right? What's Vayichar Darim Eila? Why is it such a test?
Right.
right? Because he kicked him out. And as several people have pointed out, I've literally just today heard last night I read one article, and today I listened to 2 shiurim. They all make this point, right? Is that it happens how many times in our parsha? Twice. Namely,
Hagar and then Ishmael.
No, Hagar and Ishmael together.
No.
Lot was the one he thought was going to inherit him, right? Because Lot was his only relative.
Right.
And what happens? Right. So I was reading an article last night from one of my old friends in Gush, from Rabbi David Fried, and he noted that Lot we assume is alive. I don't know. It's a very common Jewish name. He said why would Avram not know about know that Lot is alive? The Radak assumes that Hashem tells him that Lot is alive. Except, according to Pshat in the Pasuk, what happens after Stom? Avram wakes up in the morning, he looks at his Stom, and what does he see? He sees that it's all like a burnt oven. And in Pasuk, who do we never meet again? Lot. He never meets Avram again. He goes and commits adultery, he commits incest with his 2 daughters, but he never meets Avram again. Which means his first quasi-heir was his adopted nephew, who as far as he knows is dead. Right?
But didn't the Malach say he was going to save him?
No, he never tells him. No, Rashi says that. Rashi says that he comes. Right, Rashi.
He's going to heal.
Right. So in Pshat, right, Rashi is trying to solve this problem. But even if you think that Lot is saved, it still doesn't change the fact that he's out of Avram's life and he never sees him again. Right. At best, he's saved. He goes to a mountaintop. That's what Rashi says.
Why would
Yishmael, one second, because he's the only relative. Yishmael just got kicked out. So what? In Pshat, why is Hashem saying what? Why is Hashem saying what he is to Avram? Not just to ease him in. The opposite. To dig in the knife. Right? Your son, the only one left. Meaning you've just lost your adopted heir, your potential adopted heir Lot, and you had a son. Right? Which, what did Avram said about Yishmael? Hashem promised him, Sarah will have a kid. And what did he say to him? Lu Yishmael Yechia lefanecha. If only Yishmael would survive. He did survive. Except, he's gone. Hashem made him kick him out of his house. Right?
Avram said that?
Yes. Yes. If only Yishmael, that would be enough for me. Right? But Hashem says, nah, kick him out. You're going to have another child, Yitzchak. So this is the one. He's had 2 failed heirs. Right? Now he has the successful heir that was promised, and Hashem said, take your son, the only one left. It's not your only son, it's your only one left, and kill him. Right? Kill him.
Right.
That's what makes this test hard. And Zev is right. It parallels Lech Lecha. Lech Lecha me'artzecha mi'moladecha mi'beit avicha. Right? The language of Lech Lecha here, as well as that triple, as well as Ela Eretz HaMoriah, go to this place. But what's the big difference? And this is what makes the test so hard, and this is what we'll have to stop with, is what makes the test so hard. What is Lech Lecha?
Go.
And what is it? What is he doing in Lech Lecha? Sacrifice your past. What's the Akeida? Sacrifice your future. That's exactly it. But that's literally what it is, right? It's not like there's a drash, right? Lech Lecha is leave your past, is leave Beit Avicha,
Right. Go toward
and go towards your hope. Right? Now he says, leave where you are, go out into some new place and kill your future.
Yeah.
Right? This is the intensification. Right? It's everything has been building up to this moment.
Yeah.
He says, leave your family's your father's house. Go to a new land. And when you get to the new land, I'm going to build you into a nation. He said, really? When am I going to be a nation? Is it going to be Lot? No. Is it going to be Ishmael? Kick him out. It's going to be Yitzchak. I have Yitzchak. And then he says to him, take him. The only thing you have left, go out to a new place and kill him. Right? The test is, right?
See whether he'll go out.
The test is, right? You see the intensity of the test. It's mamish. It's after Hashem has already commanded him to give up on every previous hope and has tied up the whole promise of the original Lech Lecha in one person. He says that person, right? It's not simple pshat. It's not like Rashi. It's not making it easier. It's making it harder. Your son, right? Take your son. Your beloved son, your only one left, Yitzchak, the one that I said, Ki bi Yitzchaki karei lechazara, that he will be your child, and kill him out there in the middle of the mountain range.
Why would Lot not
and then
inheritance?
what?
You say Lot was saved, so why
because Avram never sees him again.
He tells him to go away?
No, he never sees him. He never comes back.
He never saw Lot when he was saved.
Correct. That's the point, right? And that seems to be the drama of it. Now again, there's so much more to talk about in the Akeida, but even just in the two psukim, understanding the drama is to realize the symbol pshat of V'chei Achar Dvarim Ha'ila is after everything in his life has led to this point where Hashem has eliminated all other potential heirs and told him to invest all his hopes in Yitzchak. He then makes him relive Lech Lecha, but this time sacrificing his future. Right? That's the intensity of the beginning of the Akeida.